Welcome to another episode of What Even Is D&D. Today's episode we are talking about feats and flaws. So, we've talked a little bit about feats and flaws in past episodes, but we're going to get a little bit deeper into them. Now, what is a feat? A feat represents a talent or an area of expertise that gives a character special abilities. It embodies training, experience, and abilities beyond what a class provides. And at certain levels, your class gives you the ability score improvement feature using optional feats rule. You can forgo that and take a feat instead. Now, some of the feats do still give you an ability score improvement, but it doesn't give you as much. Now, there are several feats. Jumping right into it, I will go straight for one of my favorites. Lucky. The lucky feat, what it does, you have an inexplicable luck that seems to kick in at just the right moment. And this feat gives you 3 luck points whenever you make an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw. You can spend 1 luck point to roll an additional d20. You can choose to spend 1 of your luck points after you roll the die, but before the outcome is determined. You choose which of the d20s is used for the attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. So what that means is if you were to roll at disadvantage and you decide you want to use a luck point, you actually have 3 rolls instead of 2. Same with advantage. And you get to choose which roll you got. So you roll a d20 3 times and you pick. And you don't necessarily have to use it when you have advantage or disadvantage. That's just a helpful time to use it. But you can also use it at a regular interval. If you roll a natural 1 before the outcome's decided, you can be like, oh, I'm using a lucky point on that. I don't want to use that one. You can also spend 1 luck point when an attack roll is made against you. Roll a d20 and then choose whether the attack uses the attacker's roll or yours. If more than 1 creature spends a luck point to influence the outcome of a roll, the points cancel each other out. No additional dice are rolled. You regain expended luck points when you finished a long rest. It's a cool little feat, and it's honestly worth the ability score improvement, because you can get some really bad rolls, and this can really help you out, especially if you don't roll well. Now, I will get to a few more feats in a moment, but I want to touch on flaws. Now, flaws is an optional rule. It's something that's up to your DM. I believe in 3.5 it was something that was just included, but not so much anymore. A flaw is something you can take to give you a negative in some way and let you choose another feat. For instance, let me jump to this next feat, archery. Fighting style feat prerequisite is fighting style feature. You gain +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons. Now, let's say you want to take a flaw in order to take this feat. Well, you could take a phobia. So let's say your phobia is spiders, since many people's are. You could have a -2 attack rolls against spiders, and you're unable to. It would kind of act like the fear effect with spiders, but you'd also have a negative. Well, I don't know. Does the fear effect have a negative? Regardless, you would have a -2 attack rolls on spiders because you're afraid of them, and you tense up when you're afraid. So, or you could have let's see. A flaw could be like feeble. You are unathletic and uncoordinated. You take a -2 penalty on strength, dexterity, and constitution based ability checks and skill checks. Or frail. You are thin and weak of frame. The effect, subtract 1 from the number of hit points you gain at each level. The flaw can reduce the number of hit points you gain to 0, but not below. Special, you must have a constitution of 4 or higher to take this flaw. Then there's inattentive. You are particularly unaware of your surroundings. You have a -4 penalty on perception checks. Not that bad. Meager fortitude. You are sickly and weak of stomach. Effect, you have a -3 penalty on fortitude saves. Now, flaws aren't necessarily huge or problematic, but like I said last episode, you can really lean into them to play out your character. Now, let's jump back over to the feats. There's a feat like Alert. Always on the lookout for danger. This is kind of the opposite of the one I just mentioned. You gain the following benefit. You have a +5 bonus to initiative. You can't be surprised while you are conscious, and other creatures don't gain advantage on attack rolls against you as the result of being unseen by you. Now, you don't have to you don't have to add feats or flaws to your character, but they are helpful. Sometimes they are better for your character than an ability score improvement, but that's something you have to decide for yourself. Really, they're designed to enhance your character in different ways. And I say that for both feats and flaws, because flaws can enhance your character just as much. It gives your character more personality and depth. We all have that friend who's afraid of something. I knew somebody who was so afraid of clowns, I saw them basically teleport away when a clown was shown to them, a clown doll. They were on one side of the room, and the next thing you knew, they were on the other side of the room. And it's something that everybody has, everybody has little flaws, and they're not necessarily a bad thing. We all have them. And feats, so you always know somebody who's particularly good at one thing. That guy who's really good with puns. Your friend who's really good with computers, or a really good singer. Or that person who's double jointed, There's plenty of people who have different stuff. And then there's people who tend to be more average, but that's cool too. How you use these are up to you and how you want to build out your character. But this has been basically a more in-depth view of feats and flaws. Now, depending on your DM, you might not have flaws. In 5th edition, I haven't seen much mention of flaws, but I play a mix of 5th edition and 3.5 currently, mostly 5th, but I sprinkle in a little bit here and there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, I would recommend checking out the playlist, which will pop up somewhere around here, because if you're interested in learning more about D&D, there is a lot of information I plan on sharing. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or reach out however you want. I will have linkage down in the description. And once again, there will be some stuff up here. One for subscribing, if you don't mind. If you've enjoyed this or this has brought any value to you, please go ahead and hit that like button, and I will have my linkage down below. Thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you next time. Later.